Welcome back, everybody. This is Markonomics 101 presents Hoot Loot, and I'm going to get rid of this stupid mask. But boy, did I have a great time in Hawaii. 2 straight wonderful days out there, and the surf was beautiful, and unfortunately, I got found by that stalker of mine. Anyway, I'm going to take this mask off. I don't care what the hell they have to say. I already had my colonoscopy when I got on the plane, and that was pretty damn bad. Now, today's show is going to be called Coining Money, and it's going to be a little bit about that funny money that you guys are all so excited about. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but we're going to go through the regular charts, and you're going to see how many of them worked, and how when we called the market and said no one rings a bell at the top, we went ding ding, and it was the top, I think. Or at least
Hi, sir. Do you have a ticket for your guest?
No, he's a service anime.
Oh, well, I'm going to need you to put your mask on, please.
Really? How am I going to talk? All right, well, I guess I will.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Forget it. All right, so we'll be back in just a minute. Please like and subscribe. You can find it right here on the seat, actually, on the seat handles, or you can find it above my head, or you can find it outside one of the windows. But please like and subscribe so you can catch every minute. We have so much to talk about today. The market is making big changes that you need to get prepared for right now. You're running out of time. We're all running out of time, but it's never too late to surf the wave and make a boatload of money, and we're going to show you how to do it. So we'll be back in just a minute with the charts. All right, welcome back, everybody. I've been on a plane forever, and this one is a little bumpy as far as I'm concerned. Where's a bag when you need one? Anyway, we're going to start with Bitcoin, but I want to show you a real coin. This is a hoot coin. This is made an original dosage, and this coin is going to be worth a lot of money because it is a collector's item, limited edition. So we're going to go to Bitcoin in just a second here and talk about the lower valued coins.
Hi, sir. Could I get you a shot?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you could. I would love it. Would you join me for one? I've never been a member of the Mile High Club.
Well, here you go. Here's that to start with.
Oh, thank you very much. Ah! God, geez.
And a little Moderna for the ride home.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay, I just got Bitcoined. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin. At least I don't own any, and I haven't lost $20,000 today. I just got stabbed in the butt. Bitcoin, as we predicted a while ago, it was an ascending wedge, and we had that little down arrow. That's the way it was going to break, and it did. Today it was down about 10-12%. Traded as low as $30,000 today. $30,000. This was a coin that was going to be worth what, $1 million a coin pretty soon? Nah, 30,000. By the way, Elon, how's your investment doing? All those Bitcoins you bought? Oh, that's right, you sold them. Was that before or after you pumped them up? He'll never tell. All right, so we'll go on to the next canary in the coal mine, which is Tesla, and look at that thing. It's leading all the way down. As we told you in the past, Tesla was the company that represented the most speculative type of money, and therefore, as it became leaking out of there, it was going to be the first. And it's already down more than 30% from its highs. The Nasdaq is right at its highs, and it's already broken down out of a bear flag, out of probably many bear flags. This thing will likely trade at $100 by the time it's all over, maybe $150. If you're in a hurry to buy this, just be patient. Take your time. The Dow Jones Industrials continue their ascending wedge and ascending wedge and ascending wedge and ascending wedge and ascending wedge. For whatever reason, they started to break down just a little bit. They had a terrible day today, and it may just be that the fat lady is beginning to sing. We shall see. We shall know very soon, because it is not looking good. Everything is starting to look bad in uniform. The Nasdaq 100 too. It is in a congestion area, but it could easily start breaking down out of this area, and it has a long way to go if it does. The S&P 500, it's starting to break down too. It looked really healthy until about a couple days ago, and because it has so many high cap stocks in it, it started to follow the Nasdaq down. It still looks like a pretty good pattern, though. I would not be acting on it until it breaks the lower green line. That's when you start looking at going short an index like this. The small cap index has been in a bear flag. We've called it that for a while, and it's right at the bottom part of the bear flag. This could break down tomorrow, and I'll tell you, the small cap index, that's 600 companies right there out of the 4,000 that trade. That's an awful lot of companies trading lower. And the more you get trading lower, the more the market's acting in unison and is going to go. The US dollar continues to be a good replacement for toilet paper. It continues to go down and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, and it's going to, because we keep giving those stimulus checks, which I never get, by the way. You know, it's one thing when they come and get your taxes. That they get the very minute they want them. But when it comes to stimulus checks, you can wait for a couple of years. Okay. The CRB index of commodities, look at this, 100% a year. I don't even want to talk about it because you're going to be looking at prices doubling in the next year in all likelihood. You may be thinking, you may be hearing 2%, but are you paying 2% more for anything right now? Really? Rents are up by 10. You know, medical care is up by 10. Education is free, so of course it's always never going to go up, but the real cost of it is up 10. Goldman Sachs commodity index looks just like the CRB, so it's not just a matter of playing games with numbers. This one has doubled in the last year too. Crude oil still going up, not as fast, probably because the demand is, you know, relatively limited. The economy is not growing, even though it smells like it, it seems like it, it's reported to. It's not growing. It's basically bottlenecked everywhere. So if it's bottlenecked everywhere, then the oil that would have been used, it can't be used because it's got no use where it is. Copper miners. Like copper? If you like copper, you're going to love the brand new hoot coin that's coming out for Christmas. Look at this. Look at this wonderful little thing. Look at this. Look at this right there. We're going to make them individual too. You want a Peter coin? You got it. You want a Joan coin? You got it. These are going to be works of art and collector's items. Limited edition, drop dead gorgeous by Katie Devsich, the fantastic up-and-coming artist that you've not heard of yet, but you soon will, and we have exclusive rights to Katie's work. All right, so let's go on to copper, still going up, and if any of you remember The Sopranos, they stripped houses for the copper. Okay, that's how much copper goes into a house. So much so that you can strip it out and make money. Lumber, there's another. Look at this. This thing went straight up and straight down. Now, normally you do not see tops like this. So if something goes up like this and comes down this fast, that's usually not a permanent top. It might be a permanent bottom, but a top is more of a topping process. It's not a one-point event. And this tells me that, you know, people just were panicked buying it. They needed to finish houses, and they stopped. And it'll probably reach a lower level and probably continue up later on in the year. Agriculture fund, you know, we've talked about food prices. These have finally stalled a little bit after all the increases. But what you are finding with food is that it's out in spot shortages. No matter what I order, half of it's not delivered, half of it's out of stock. I don't know which half it's going to be because it's always something different. And that's the logistics problem. You cannot get produce or food from point A to point B easily anymore. The base metals fund, these are things like steel and iron and stuff that we gave up on a long time ago, and tin and aluminum and all that. These things are going up like crazy. Pretty soon we're going to have aluminum foil dollar bills or aluminum foil $half bills or something. It's unbelievable how much these have gone up and are continuing to go up on a daily basis. Gold. Well, you know, I have been eating it on gold for an awful long time, admitting I've been wrong, but I'm not this time. Gold is breaking out. Gold is going somewhere. There's limited gold and unlimited dollars, and that's all there is to it. And when you have something like that, the one that's limited goes up against the one that's unlimited. And you can now see it in gold. It's broken up. The amazing thing is, we talked about this several weeks ago, that Bitcoin was distracting people from gold, and that gold would ultimately win. It's the tortoise. Bitcoin is the hare. The tortoise always beats the hare. And that's what's happening now. Silver is actually looking like it's about to break out. It is very close to generating a major buy signal, and if it does, look for a quadrupling in silver if it does break out. And I would say that the odds are greater than 50-50 it will. The miners, a lot of them have already broken out. Apple, we've shown this chart. Look at this. This thing is almost broken down below the rising trend line, and that would be a really bad sign for the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq doesn't have any good signs right now, but this is one of the worst it could possibly have. Amazon, look at that. It hit all the way at 3,500, announced its earnings, and it's just plunged ever since. Still a good company, still have a problem with logistics, and they have robot cars, so what's not to like about Amazon, right? Facebook, what is there to like about Facebook, is my question. I mean, Facebook is the breeding ground for scammers of every variety. Mark Zuckerberg might as well put out a sign that says scammers welcome. You know, scammers welcome. People who tell their opinions are not welcome. If you want to say an opinion is different than mine, get the hell out of my space. But if you want to scam people with Bitcoin Forex scams, come on down, because we will give you clear support, and we don't give a damn if you violate federal law. Microsoft, look at that. It has gone up an ascending wedge for, a long time, a year and a half or something like that. It's going to take, this is dead money for the next 10 years. If you think it's going to keep going up, it will not. It is already factored in the next 10 years of earnings. So it's going to take 10 years of earnings growth to catch up to where the price is today. That's the way markets are, and people who anticipate that make the money. People who wait for it to happen don't make the money. They sit on it. And they just sit there, and it's dead, and it's dead, and it's dead, and it's dead. And they forget about it. Microsoft was the most valuable company in the year 2000, I believe. And after the crash of the dot-com bubble, sat there for another 12 years going absolutely nowhere. Here it is, $1.7 trillion again. Netflix, or Netflix, as I like to call it. I don't call it Netflix because that's just not cool. So I refer to it as Netflix, because you always eat when you watch movies. Now, this has gone sideways, and it's, Dullsville. Everybody that owns it is going to be underwater when it breaks down, or they'll be above water when it breaks up. But it won't break up. It will break down. It is not gaining subscribers or revenues or anything. The only reason it made good money last quarter was because it didn't spend anything on acquiring content. If you don't spend money on acquiring content, you can show profit. Here's 5 years, just to kind of give you more of a longer term picture. Again, it's in a bear flag, and this thing could potentially go a long ways down. Qualcomm, picture perfect type of chart. Rounded top, bear flag, broke the bear flag, and this one, just like Tesla, is going down. This one looks just like Tesla looks. It's just probably as overvalued, maybe not as overvalued because it's a 5G company, but it looks exactly the same. It doesn't matter. The pattern of these patterns are all caused by money flows. And money flows are the only things you should care about, because that's real betting going on in the market. What people tell you on TV, or they tell you in cable news, if you don't go crazy watching it for 2 seconds, is they're going to tell you everything's wonderful. But it's not always wonderful. It's wonderful part of the time. And I've made the mistake of watching cable news, and I had to be hospitalized for a couple of weeks. 10-year Treasury yields are really low still. They're starting up again, and there has been no news. And the one thing that they love is no news, because no news means you don't have to knock everything down. But the fact of the matter is, inflation is running at 6 to 8% probably, and these things are trading at around 2. They're going to have to trade at 6 to 8% at least if it goes to 6, and that means a 50 multiple stock goes to 15. That's a 70% loss, even if their business grows. Even if. Interest rates determine the value of everything. They're not good. They're not bad. They are just the amount at which people will exchange debt money. Borrowers can borrow at, and savers can save at. Borrowers can lend at. That's all it is. But lower rates mean higher values. Higher rates mean lower values. So they're interpreted as bad, and because our Congress, all of them seem to own all this stock in real estate, so they've told the Fed to kind of, help them out a little bit, even though the Fed's independent. We all know how independent the Fed is. 30-year bonds, they're still low too. They're breaking out though. These guys are going somewhere. They're going in a hurry. 30-year bonds are, they're going to be at 3 before, the next month or two, and that's going to knock down multiples like you can't believe, and it's going to raise interest rates all over the world too. Here's a ProShares ultra short 20 plus Treasury. If you want to buy something that is going to go up when interest rates go up, for sure, that's this. There aren't many securities like that. This is one I would use as a hedge, or you could even buy as a spec, because rates are going up. That's all there is to it. There is nothing that is going to keep them down. The Fed can't even keep them down anymore, because if they do, they have to print more money, and it's going to sink further. You're going to have money go down even further, and that's going to make it harder to buy things when the money's worth less. So, the Fed's in a box. They're in a jam, and so they have to lie. What can you do? Homebuilders, this is another amazing chart to me. They break down, they break up, and then they break back down again out of an ascending wedge. I think that the last break might be the real break, because, they're awfully expensive right now, with lumber at 8 times what it was a year ago, copper at 8 times what it was a year ago. How can a home not be affordable at this point in time? And that's the problem. And I think these things are so overvalued. And with that kind of pattern, I don't know why people are just jumping all over themselves to buy, but they are. The airline index is another one that I always love to kid about, but here's one where logic is not applicable. And neither are fundamentals. I've said before, fundamentals don't matter. They don't. They don't matter one bit. It helps if they're on your side. It helps if they're good, but they don't matter. And I can tell you that from a former job I had, they didn't matter then, and they don't matter now. Because all that matters is you make money. And if you say I lost money but the fundamentals were good, that's not all that convincing as making money and the fundamentals were bad. So, keep that in mind. They will turn, but not today. The big oil index actually is turning up, making new highs, and we would expect that because the dollar's going down, and everything is priced in dollars. So oil is going to go up. Whether or not we have price cuts or not, it's going to cost more to make shale oil than it used to. Oil costs oil to make oil, and that's all there is to it. So when it goes up in value, when it goes up in price, it goes up in cost almost as much. So, you need oil to make oil and transport oil. So you don't really just get it, you get a portion of it. So that's another reason oil probably is going up from here. I don't know how high. I don't know how strong the economy is going to end up being. I do know this, that if we do not unbottleneck it, it is going to kind of crunch and grind. Like when a car, you shift gears and it goes, and you go, oh God, oh no, what's my dad going to say? That's basically what we're doing. Oops, went too far. Semiconductors have been the strongest until now. Now there's such a shortage, and I didn't believe it at first. I didn't believe that Ford needed semiconductors for what? For their seats, for their seat belts, for the AM radio that they come with. Apparently, cars are now such electronic vehicles that they need them, and the semiconductor shortage is 50% of what is needed right now. And it is such a big bottleneck that it is actually slowing world GDP by a significant amount, and US GDP by a significant amount. But they are turning, and that part is not very good. The REIT index I put in there because I'm always asked the question, is real estate in a bubble? And people are always arguing it is. It is not in a bubble. Real estate is not in a bubble. Real estate is going up for one reason only. Rents are going up, and the cost of occupancy is going up, and the dollar's going down. That's really why it's going up. It's not a bubble. It can go to $10 million for a fixer-upper if the dollar goes down low enough, and God, I dread the thought of it, that being the case. But, Venezuela, it happened there. You never know. Zimbabwe, they had 80 million% a month inflation at their peak. The bank index is still looking pretty good. It's still making an ascending wedge, but it's not gaining as fast as it was before. It is running out of steam. So I would look for this to be close to the top. I wouldn't ring the bell here yet on this one. But, they're still strong. They're being helped by the interest rate move, supposedly. But I wouldn't want to plow money into this thing because higher rates are going to reduce the value of all assets, every single one. The FedEx, here's a great company to judge the economy. FedEx has actually made new highs, and that tends to suggest that the economy is cooking along because people have to transport goods. Well, that's part of it, but it's not all of it. FedEx is making more money because of the bottlenecks, and it's making more money because they can charge more because of the bottlenecks. They are subcontracted by the U.S. Postal Service, for example, who is also running into bottlenecks. And railroad companies are doing the same thing. They are reserving cargo containers to companies if they use a certain amount in the year because they have bottlenecks. And they don't want to not have an empty cargo container when they could have had a full train because there's so much demand. And that's what's happening. UPS, same thing. They're learning how to read addresses. That's really good. 2 out of 10 came to my doorstep last week. That was great. That was better than the week before. It was 1 out of 10. But UPS has just vaulted, and I think those brown uniforms are starting to become really stylish with those brown masks they wear. If you haven't noticed this, they wear these really cool brown masks with the brown uniforms, very well color coordinated, and it looks like they have a wonderful stylist that works for them. So just notice that next time, and that's probably worth a lot of why it's going up. American Express. This is important because people use credit cards to buy things, and they have used credit. They're using more credit than ever before, and they're able to charge more. Credit card companies charge an exorbitant amount of money when you consider it. Their cost to them is like 2%, 1%. They charge 20, even to a good borrower. I had no debt at one point, and I was still being charged 22%. No debt and 22%. So I don't use them anymore personally. I can't stand them, but this is how these companies make money. And when people buy, they get something out of it. And this is why American Express is so indicative of the economy. And so is Discover. Discover Financial Services came out of Sears. Also, I think the fourth leading company. It's doing well too. MasterCard, first leading company, but it's broken down out of a pattern. I'm not sure what to say about this. I'd call this neutral right now. I wouldn't call it bullish or bearish. And I would just want to keep an eye on it. At some point, the economy is going to go one of two ways. One way is it's going to look like it's really healthy because you can't get anything, okay? But that's not really healthy. What's healthy is you produce things. If you don't produce things, you are not healthy. Giving people dollars is not making them one iota richer. It is making them poorer, as a matter of fact, because what it does is it reduces the information content contained in prices. If they're going up at an X rate per month, you start to build that into how you buy things. You hoard things. And then all of a sudden, you create a crisis. So it's really bad when you have inflation. It is not a fun thing to go through. Very hard to break. And right now they're talking like, oh, no big deal. It's never going to be a problem. It's at 2%. But that's if we don't count anything that people actually eat, buy, drink, drive, or whatever. Home Depot is another one that I have theorized in the past that this is making money because of inventory. Home Depot would be the logical place to carry lumber and copper. And look at the fact that it is plunged with copper and lumber this week, and it is skyrocketed with lumber and copper. And so I think part of Home Depot's rise is not that they're doing great as a store and that the economy's moving. It's that basically they have things that are commodities that are running out of supply, and they make profit. If they bought copper last year at $2 and sold it at $5 now, they got $3 in profit just from that. And they bought it probably cheaper then. So they may be doing that with plywood. They're probably out now because if they were not out now, you wouldn't see this return. But people got that desperate, and along the way they had to make a lot of money, and that's why this thing went up. And I think people realized that. It happened in the 70s. It happened when oil companies held a bunch of oil in the ground. It was worth $3 a barrel. Saudi Arabia and the other OPEC countries did the cartel and the embargo, and all of a sudden oil went to 30. Well, Exxon, holy damn, they had 10 million barrels in the ground. They went from 30 million to 300 million in 1 second. Unfortunately, we have these things called professional politicians, and they taketh away whatever giveth. Whatever giveth, they taketh. So anyway, that's how we go there. Caterpillar is a beneficiary of infrastructure. They're the ones that are going to make bridges and roads and all that kind of stuff that's falling apart. And they're also a company that is going to take down some of the racist highways that we have. Thanks to Pete Buttigieg, we can now understand that even an inanimate object like a highway can be racist, and a bridge. And thank God we have him, because I would have never figured that out by myself. Okay, now Dow, another construction company, new high. These companies, I'll tell you, part of the reason they're doing so well is because they're not having to competitively bid. Right now, we just give money away. The government just gives it away. Why? Because it's other people's money. They don't treat it like their own. They don't make people bid. You don't get bids from Boeing. You don't get bids from anybody. They just tell you how much they want, and that's it. And that's pretty much why infrastructure spending goes the way it does. 3M, Post-it notes. I guess we're not buying as many as we used to, but this one's going up. And they also are involved in tractors and stuff like that, infrastructure company. And finally, what I want to do, spend the last segment talking about coining money. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about a word I can't use very often, but you know what I'm talking about. This is Bitcoin Cash. Okay, now Bitcoin, we talked at the beginning about. Bitcoin has had several spin-offs. Okay, there's no one running this company, by the way. It just kind of runs itself. I don't know how the hell that happened, but it does. So Bitcoin Cash was a fight between two groups of miners. Miners are the people that process transactions and create new Bitcoin. So they get into fights, turf wars, and they fought, and some took Bitcoin Cash, which was part of the original Bitcoin. So it's had like 15 of these spin-offs. There's Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Rhinestone, Bitcoin Astro Boy, Bitcoin Ace, Bitcoin Markonomics, Bitcoin Hoot Loot, on and on and on. And we're going to sue them for trademark infringement pretty damn soon, I can tell you that. So Bitcoin Cash, though, I wanted to show you how it reacted today too. And look at that, it just got hammered. Now, here's another thing about Bitcoin Cash you should know. I don't believe, and now I don't know this for sure because I've never seen a prospectus on Bitcoin, period. Nor can I find one, nor has anyone heard of one. How do we know Bitcoin Cash is limited at 21 million like Bitcoin is supposedly? We don't. So what if Bitcoin Cash grows to 50 million or 100 million or 100,000 million? We don't know that. And there are 5,000 cryptocurrencies out there. There's no limit on how many of those you can have. So, you know, the fact that there's a limited supply is kind of weakened by some of this stuff. And you really have to take that into account when you really look at this. So, you know, you have to watch out. This is called a hard fork. A hard fork occurs when you split off things, but they didn't really anticipate that when Mr. Satoshi designed this, by himself and then disappeared, and then Craig Wright showed up as him, and I don't know how, he never explained this to us. Somehow they have these things called hard forks. Ripple's another one. If you own Ripple Labs, you own the company. If you own Ripple, Ripple produces tokens. The tokens I'd rather own the company than the tokens personally, but I can't. It's privately owned, it's in the Bay Area, and they're the ones that make the tokens. They're the ones that make the profits. You don't make profits off of tokens. But yet, look at it, it went way up, it's gone way up, and today, like everything else in crypto land, went down, got hammered. I have a feeling today was a day they're not going to recover from. MicroStrategy too. This company only owns Bitcoin. It owns 2.24 billion Bitcoin in value. And look at how this one has gone down. Another reason I was confident, that Bitcoin had it when I said a few weeks ago I thought it was kaput is because every company that has a dependency on Bitcoin or is associated with it was going down. So those investors were already losing confidence in Bitcoin, especially one-off like MicroStrategy. And you have to watch out for stuff like that. They will give you hints that something bad is coming around the corner. They did me. I didn't show them to you at the time, but if you were really into it, this is the kind of thing you'd want to look at and understand before you make a decision on Bitcoin. Same thing with Overstock. They were the first company to take it for goods. They started accepting Bitcoin in 2014, and Bitcoin is such a major factor in e-commerce that they're almost up to 1% of all sales of Overstock.com since 2014. So that didn't do too good either. Riot blockchain, well, sorry, the riot's going to occur when all the people realize how much money they're going to lose, because this thing is heading straight down. You can see it on the chart. This thing is a blockchain company. It used to be that the word blockchain, you suddenly work 10 times more. Not anymore. Sorry. That doesn't work now. And finally, we've got Square Inc. And I have something to say here too about things like Symmetrics! You owe me money, I'm not going to call you what I want to call you, but they own Cash App. And I know a lot of you use Cash App to transfer money. But do you know this company actually has held my money hostage? And I'm not the only one. There are groups I have seen on Twitter and social media of other people who also claim that Cash App is holding their money hostage. And I don't know what the hell that is, but I'd like my money back if someone from Cash App or Square D is watching. So with that, I'm going to say this has been so much fun to bring you all this information today. I hope you make a ton of money. We'll be back with final comments in just a second. Well, hi everybody. It's been great to deliver all this information again. I hope you liked it as much as I did. I'm feeling a little woozy about this flight. I got to tell you that. Please like and subscribe. And we'd love to see you back next Saturday when we're going to have a great show. And God, I am not feeling well. I am just...
Sir, can you please put your mask on? Or the marshal's going to have to escort you up front.
The mask!